Welcome to the Beginning Crochet Mini Course. I'm Tashia Butterfield, a professional crochet instructor. Here in part 1, we will be discussing how to hold the yarn and hook.
The most challenging part to learning crochet is not the stitches. It's actually knowing how to hold the yarn and the hook. Because all of our hands are different and they function a little bit differently, no two people are going to do this the same. There's no right or wrong way to hold the yarn and hook. As long as each hand is doing its job, however you come up with to do that is just fine. Your dominant hand is going to hold the hook. For me, that's my right hand. There's two different ways. You can hold it like a knife where your hand is on top, or like a pencil where your hand is underneath. So try both of these out as you're making your stitches and in different combinations of how you're holding your yarn, and find what works best for you. You're going to find here in the beginning that nothing is comfortable. I'm not going to say choose what is most comfortable for you, because there is no such thing. For a while, there's going to be no such thing as comfortable. Everything is going to be awkward. So just try a few different things out and see which feels best, which works best for you. I choose holding it like a knife because I feel like it gives my wrist more of a range of motion. The job of your non-dominant hand is to hold the yarn, and it's going to keep the tension of the yarn throughout your project. This is a hand that feeds the yarn to your hook. So if it's not doing a good job, your hook can't do a good job. Tension is how loose or how tight your yarn is, and that's going to directly affect the way that your stitches look. So you want to be able to do this part really well, and there's more options in how to hold the yarn than there is in how to hold the hook. The way that I hold it, and that I think is a really good place to start, is taking the end that goes to the ball. With my hand behind the yarn, I wrap it around the pinky. And then this end that is cut, I put that in between the index and middle finger and lay that yarn across the index finger. See that? So I'll do it again. My hand is behind the yarn. I wrap the pinky, and then I lay this cut end in between the index and middle fingers, laying the yarn across the index finger. Remember, the job of this is the tension. So I need to check how smooth that yarn is going to flow right through the hand. The most challenging part for beginning students that I find once they start actually making their stitches is they hold the yarn in their hand so tightly that it doesn't move. If your yarn isn't moving, you're not making anything. So make sure that whatever you choose, it is moving smoothly. So say this is too loose, you need a little more tension. What you can do is still start with wrapping your pinky, but then wrap it through your other fingers as well, still leaving the cut end laying over your index finger here. Say the first way was too tight and you need it to be a little more loose. Well, what you can do is simply with your index finger, let me do this way, wrap it around so that this yarn lays over your index finger when it finishes, just wrapping it around twice. I would not recommend wrapping it more than that because it's going to restrict the actual flow of the yarn. And then take your pinky and your ring finger and just ever so loosely touching that yarn, so you're guiding it, but you're not restricting it. Now, whichever way you choose, you'll notice the similarities is the yarn laying over this index finger. And that's because the next step would be to take your middle finger and your thumb and hold it in the place where you're working. In the beginning of a project, that's going to be the slip knot. As your project grows, you're going to have all this fabric in this area, so you're holding right where you're working currently. And that is going to create this nice workspace here for your hook to be able to pick up that yarn.